What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and finally I have a mostly positive review about our national team. Oh, it feels good. It feels good to watch the game, and then after the game, feel good about the game in general, which has probably not been any of this tournament. I mean, you look at the first game; it was a draw that really should have been a win, but we were slow and just not passionate enough about the game. And the second one was a narrow win against a team like Martinique and just wasn't good enough. Tonight, we did the job we needed to do. We got 3 goals that put us top of our group. All around, it was pretty good. Now, that's not to say that there weren't some problems. I'll get to that when I talk about individual performances. But overall, I mean, it really was a good team performance. And that's something that hasn't happened much this tournament. It's been either an average team performance or it's been couple of good individual performances. But this is the first time that I think overall it was pretty good all around the field. Now, like I said, that did not come without some of its problems. But we'll talk about the goals first. The first goal was quite possibly the luckiest goal we've had this entire tournament. I mean, just Corona finds himself in space to have a shot, but he's not left-footed, so instead of trying it with his left foot, he's like, oh, I'm going to get it back onto my right. So he cuts it onto his right. Now he has space for the shot, but he's like, I still don't feel it here. Takes another touch and puts himself in just pretty much no angle to shoot at all. Like, defender's all in the way. However, he gets lucky, deflects off the defender's arm, off his knee, and then curls itself into the near post, away from where the keeper, well, pretty much away from where the shot was going. So keeper steps this way, deflects off the defender, narrowly sneaks in the near post. Yeah, lucky goal. Similar thing can be said about the second one, but it came about from a bit nicer piece of play. Good pressure from Bedoya to win in the midfield. Dwyer picks it up, tries to have a shot, but is poked away to Bedoya. Nice pass in behind for Rowe, but typical to Rowe this tournament so far. His shot goes right at the keeper. Luckily, a defender deflects it, and it sneaks in near post away from the keeper. He doesn't react quickly enough to it. So it was another lucky goal, but the build-up to it was a lot nicer than the one, Corona's goal. That one was more just, it was kind of banging around a little bit, and then it ended up at him at the back post in a ton of space. Like the cross comes in from, I think it was Bedoya, and it wasn't a great cross, but luckily it went right to Corona's path. So, but then the third goal, thankfully, was a nice goal. It was probably the best goal we've had so far this tournament from my boy, Chelsea boy, Nat Miazga. Probably the only good thing that Zusi has done all tournament, with a nice cross in off the free kick. Miazga's in tons of space. Nobody's picking him up. Nice little diving header. Gets good power on it. Keeper, I mean, pretty much had nothing he could do about it. It was just a one-on-one situation. He heads it. He tries to get down to it, but not quick enough. So, I mean, all 3 goals were deserved. It's not like we just happened to get one against the run of play. We were putting a lot of pressure. It did take some luck for the first 2 goals, but we got them in. That's the important thing here. Now, as far as the players go that scored them, I'll talk about that in a second, because the rest of their play may not have equaled what the goal stood for. But, I mean, all 3 goals were deserved. They were through a good bit of hard work by a player. First goal, good run by Bedoya. Great strength to hold off the player. Finds a cross in, even though it is a bit lucky to find Corona's feet. And then it does take some luck to get it in. And the second one, nice bit of play from Bedoya to win it back. And then nice pass by him, good run from Rowe. So, all around, good goals. So let's talk about individual performances, because this is where it does get a little bit dicey, because I've praised the team, I've talked about the positive stuff, but now we do have to get into some negatives. First of all, I do want to talk about the defensive side of it, because I have to say I'm kind of judging these defenders, some of them, and it's hard to, because you really look at this game, and Nicaragua really didn't have a whole lot of chances. It's not like they created a ton of stuff going forward. It was mainly us pressing forward. The only chances they really got were from mistakes. The mistakes we made. And a lot of those mistakes came from Graham Zusi. And like I said, that cross that set up the third goal, great cross, great free kick. but that's probably the only good thing he did this entire game. The rest of it was just so sloppy. I know there were a couple runs he went on that were looking good for a second, but ultimately, what did they lead to? One led to a chance pretty much wide open in space. He gets lucky. He does one of those things where he's dribbling through, and it's like every single time he takes a touch, a defender's about to step in and win it, so he has to touch it away from them, and he does that through most of their defense. Like, gets lucky and touch away, finds himself in all the space in the world. All the defenders are going this way while he's coming this way, and he has a random left-footed shot with no power behind it right at the keeper. I'm like, what did all that lead to? Great run, good work to hold on to the ball, and then it leads to that. You wasted an opportunity. You had a chance to take a touch possibly towards the goal to set up a better chance, more one-on-one chance. But instead you're just like, oh, I'm going to have a shot from here. I'm falling away from the goal. It's on my left foot, which I'm pretty sure he's right-footed. It was weak. It was right at the keeper. It's a waste. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with him, is that almost everything he does is a waste. If he's getting knocked off the ball, he's wasting it. His passes, most of the time, he's wasting it. Defensively, he's wasting himself defensively because he puts himself in stupid situations where now he's beat and somebody's in behind on him. I just don't understand how he can even be considered as our backup right back. He is that bad. And I get so frustrated watching him. I really hope throughout the rest of this tournament, I really hope that Lehigh is the one playing there because, frankly, even though he didn't create a whole lot, I just thought he looked much more solid back there. He looked more solid defensively. He looked more solid on the ball. Zusi, I don't know what else I could say about him. He's really bad. He is really bad this tournament, and he just got worse this game, to be honest. So yeah, all around, just really frustrated with him. It was really bad. But that being said, the rest of our defense, it's really hard to say much good or bad about them for the most part. Because obviously with Miazga's goal, that did help his case as to whether or not he had a good game. Getting the goal, and especially the one that puts us through at the top of our group, very good for him. But defensively, didn't really have a whole lot to do. There were several times where the ball gets sent upfield and he had to win it in the air. And considering I think he's probably the tallest player we have. I don't know. He was the tallest player we had tonight. I don't know about who's on the bench, but yeah, he's super tall. And he wins most of those long balls that they're trying to send down the field. He wins it in the air. He heads it away. Bessler didn't really have a whole lot to do either. And because he didn't get a goal, it's kind of like, well, I don't really know how to judge him. He didn't really have that much to do. In the moments where he did have to do something, he did okay. A couple mistakes here and there. Even Miazga on the ball, a couple mistakes here or there, a couple bad passes every now and then. But for the most part, all around for those two, it was average. And a lot of that is because Nicaragua wasn't creating a whole lot. We were giving them a couple chances every now and then, but it really wasn't that much. So they didn't have to deal with a whole lot. A couple of the shots that came in, Hamid had to deal with. He had to make a couple decent saves. I didn't really see anything that really challenged him. There were two that really looked kind of difficult. One was a shot that was low and hard towards the corner. He did get well for that one, and then managed to get up and get back to it because he had parried it away, and a guy was making a run in on it. And then the other one was the guy looked like he was about to cross it in back post, so he started to make the run there, and then all of a sudden he realized, no, it's coming at the goal, and so he had to adjust his footing and touch it over. So he did okay, but didn't have a whole lot to do either. Villafana didn't have much to do defensively, but getting forward in the attack is where I looked at him and thought to myself, he's just not there. He's not that fullback that we need to get up and down the line that's going to help out attacking and help out on our defense as well. I just don't see that in him. I don't see that quality that I'm just like, yes, that's what we need. He has a couple moments every now and then, but for the most part, he just looks a bit slow to get to it. He's in a foot race with somebody to get to the ball first. It always seems like he's the second one there. And whenever you're a fullback, you need to have that bit of quickness to beat one of those quick players to the ball because you're going to be facing a lot of quick wingers down the side. So he doesn't look quick enough to really challenge them, mainly in one-on-one situations. Everything else he seems okay, and he seems like a solid player, especially whenever we're knocking around in the back. He looks well enough there. It's just every other part of his game needs to, every other part of his fullback game needs to improve, especially when we get to one-on-one situations, because that's really where it gets scary for him. McCarty in the middle, I never ever thought in a million years that I'd want Michael Bradley in place of somebody else. And then Dax McCarty came on the field, and I want somebody else besides I want Michael Bradley besides Dax McCarty on the field, because he just doesn't bring anything. I mean, defensively, he's too small. He's not quick enough to poke the ball off of somebody. Too many times he's getting knocked off the ball whenever he's trying to hold up play in the midfield, pass it around or something like that. He just gets knocked off of it. And my other problem with him is he's always looking to get knocked off of it. He's always looking, oh, here comes somebody, touch, falls over, and the ref isn't calling it, even though he's calling it the other way, so it's something else entirely. But, I mean, you're in the midfield. You're a defensive midfielder on top of that, so where you're holding up the ball is not where we want to lose it. We don't want you to lose the ball right there in front of our defense where a player can now just pick it up and run at our defense. That's scary. And it happened so many times in the second half. Luckily, there are other players around him who are aware of that fact that he's getting knocked off easily, so they managed to shut it down every time. But, I mean, he's scary. He's a scary player for us to have out there because he creates mistakes. He's not big enough to win the ball off of people. Interceptions, he does okay, but there's more to your game than interceptions when you're a defensive midfielder. You've got to provide something else, and he doesn't provide anything else. It's just one thing he's good at, and that's interceptions. That's not good enough. And especially if you're losing the ball a whole lot, that's definitely not good enough. The other two midfielders in front of him, kind of, because I think Bedoya was told to hold a bit more, because honestly I thought Bedoya was a better holding midfielder than he was tonight, McCarty. But yeah, Bedoya, I thought played a lot better tonight. The first game, I was not impressed with him at all. Second game, when he came on as a sub, still not impressed. Tonight, he stepped up his game. Worked a lot harder. Basically back to that typical Bedoya performance that I expect. The hard worker, not really a very creative player, not somebody that's going to beat somebody with speed, but he just works really hard. And he created the first two goals because of that. Hard work to win the ball, hard work to get the cross in, hard work to lay it off. I mean, just a lot of hard work from him, and especially because he was our captain tonight, I respect that. So I appreciate the fact that he did step up his game tonight. However, I do think there are probably better options than him in our team. But I guess, on this team there aren't. But, it's our B team. It is what it is. But yeah, I really thought he stepped up his game tonight and looked a lot better. And then Corona, even though he got the goal, nothing else about his game got me excited. Just really, really poor most of the night. Pretty much exactly the same as what I saw in the first game. Just slow touches, very, very lazy whenever he got the ball. Got a chance to pick your head up, see a pass, first touch, lay it off. But no, he's got to take a touch, and then somebody lays him out and he's lost the ball. And even, like I said in the goal, he had a chance to hit his left foot, didn't do it, cut it to his right foot, has a chance, doesn't hit it, cuts it again, and now there are like three defenders in his way, and if it weren't for the deflection, it would not have been a goal. So got very lucky on the goal, and the rest of his game just really, really wasn't good enough. The penalty was just kind of the icing on the cake. You haven't been good all night, and then you step up with this confidence, like, I've got this, guys, and then pretty much just pass it right next to the keeper. Really, really not good enough. So I really do fully expect him to be one of the ones off the roster after Arena makes his changes. On the wings, we had Rowe on the left and Pontius on the right. Rowe looked good again. He's a very solid player on the ball. Very good with his feet, very quick as well, and does have a bit of strength. The problem with him, though, is that he cannot finish. on his goal. Like I said, it's a typical Rowe shot that I've seen throughout most of this tournament. Nice, nice shot. It was a good idea trying to flick it outside of his foot past the keeper, but it goes right to the keeper. He has a volley in the first half. Great technique. Got his foot over it. Nice, powerful, straight shot right at the keeper. So he can hit a ball, but he's got to place it better. He's got to find the corners instead of just right at the keeper every single time. But everything he does besides his shooting is good. So I would like to see more of him. I think he's a creative player and somebody that we could use going forward in this tournament. Pontius on the other side, the only thing he really brought tonight was he's very tall and very good at jumping. So there are several times where he did very well to get up above the defender and win it in the air, off the header, off the chest, something like that. The problem is, though, is that nobody else around him was really moving, so it didn't ever really lead to anything. It was always, oh, he won the ball, oh, but it doesn't matter because another defender went and won it afterwards. So I think if you put him up there with somebody who is going to move a bit more, somebody who's willing to work, I think it would probably, he would look a lot better of a player than he did tonight. But besides that, I think one of the other things he really needs to work on, mainly because he was deployed as a winger tonight, he's got to work on his touch a lot more, his first touch. Because he looks like he's just very iffy on his first touch. Like, cross comes to him, and he's practically like jumping in the air trying to settle it, and it wasn't a clean settle. It was sloppy looking. So yeah, I just think his touch when he dribbles isn't great. I think that was exposed quite a bit tonight. So he's got to be more than just, oh, I'm tall and I can win in the air. Because that's not what you want from your winger. You want something more. You want more speed, and he doesn't really have that. So that's about all from the midfield. Then Dom Dwyer up top didn't get himself a goal tonight. Took a fairly poor penalty. Perfect height for the keeper. Good power, but you got to put it farther away from him, or put it on the ground, or put it farther up in the air. But I mean, just you hit it really hard to the right, or to the right of the keeper at about where the keeper is going to dive. 50-50 shot there. If the keeper guesses wrong, you scored. If the keeper guesses right, he makes the save. And he guessed right on this occasion. So, yeah, I don't know. I was really disappointed in that. I think one of my dad's main rules is if you are the one that's fouled, you don't take it. Because, just so many emotions run through your head. You just got fouled. You just went on a sprint to beat somebody in the box. And now you get fouled, and now you're going to go take it. I mean, your head's not right, and sure enough, he missed that one. But just overall, his work ethic was good, but I think he lacks that special something to be a quality striker. And I think that really showed tonight. I couldn't think of anything that really typified what I would like to see in somebody who's going to be our star striker. I didn't see any of that. I don't know what to call it, really. But there's just that thing. Like whenever I watch Costa for Chelsea, there's that thing about him where he has those moments where he turns on for a second and he looks like nobody can stop him. He looks like he's just the best player on the field. I never see that from Dwyer. I see a couple moments where he looks good on the ball, he looks strong, but for the most part, I see a guy who's up there who works really hard, but just doesn't have anything to his game really. Doesn't have anything special about him. He's just all around average. So I think that really showed tonight, and I don't know. I would be a little surprised if he was one of the ones to get off the roster, just because I think, he still really hasn't been given that much of a chance. He's had a couple of good moments throughout the 3 games that he's played in. So I would be a bit surprised if he was one of the ones to go, but at the same time, I would also understand, just because he didn't really show much tonight. As far as the subs go, first one to come on, I'm trying to remember. I know the 3 subs that came on. I can't remember the order they came in on now. But the first one of the first ones to come on was either Morris or Areola. Areola was the first one to come on. That's right. Came on for Rowe, and it was just pretty much get legs on there because Areola very quick, very fast. He came on, worked hard, created a couple of chances just from that hard work alone. He's still impressing me with his work. I still think he needs that final, you've done very well to win the ball. You've done very well to hold up the ball, to win it back, but then do something with it. There was that one moment where everybody was putting a challenge in on him. He was getting knocked around, he's getting pushed off the ball, but then he's up, he's winning it. He's challenging, he wins it back, he wins it, and then finally he's away. And it's like, yes, now do something. And he just sort of does nothing with it. He takes a few touches, and then he's under pressure, and then kicks it away. So I think that final moment, the final pass, the shot that he takes, it's got to be better there, because everything else he does is very good. That final thing that he does is most of the time not good enough. And then Morris came on for somebody. I can't remember now. I know maybe it was Ariola came on for Corona, and then Morris came on for Rowe, possibly. But yeah, Morris came on second. Didn't really do much to help us. Just I can think of one chance that he had. It was a shot from somebody deflected up, and then he reacts too late, and so now he's trying to run backwards to head it back towards the goal that way. You're not going to score from there. But yeah, that's about the only thing I can remember him doing. And then Agudelo came on last and just brought nothing to the game, really. Had one header on his first moment in, and then that was it. And, that is something he brings. He is very good in the air. He's big and tall. That's about it, though. And this leads me to probably the last thing that I'm going to talk about, which is the people coming in and the people going out. For those of you who don't know, Bruce Arena is allowed to make, I think it's 7 changes to the roster now that they're out of the group stage for the knockout stage. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but a friend of mine sent me a list of the people that are coming in. The report right now says Tim Howard and Jesse Gonzalez at keeper. If that's the case, then I assume Brad Guzan and, I don't know, maybe Hamid are going to go out. I don't know. Either that or Hamid and Johnson are out and Gonzalez and Howard are in. I don't know why you use up 2 of your changes on keepers. It just doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to bring in Jesse Gonzalez because he just committed to being a U.S. national team player, that's fine. But bring in 1 keeper, and you aren't bringing in any defenders. And we've got 3 defenders who need to go. Zusi, Morrow, and Gonzalez, or Hedges. One of those 2. You're not bringing in a single defender. You're going to bring in 2 keepers. You're stupid, Bruce Arena. But yeah, so that, like I said, this is just a report. Don't know if this is actually true or not. In the midfield, Howard and Nagby are coming in. Not Howard, Bradley, sorry. Bradley and Nagby. Bradley, like I said, I don't really want him, but I want him over McCarty just because he's been that bad this tournament. Nagby, I really don't know because of the attacking mids that we've had, of the wingers that we've had, nobody's really stood out to me aside from Corona as being really poor. So I guess Corona could be the one going out, but I wouldn't imagine that Rowe, Pontius has gotten just this one game that he's played in. He played a little bit in the second game. He hasn't really gotten a whole lot of time. Zardes has only had the second game and then a bit of the first game, so I couldn't imagine him leaving either. And then Bedoya, I don't see him taking him out because he can play pretty much anywhere. So Corona can really be the only one that I see leaving. But if so, I mean, that's taking out an attacking mid for more of a winger. So I don't know what the thinking is there. And then Altidore and Dempsey are coming in, reportedly. If that's the case, I mean, I assume Agudelo is going to leave because he's done nothing. He's had 3 chances, 3 games to do something. He came on early on in the first game, did nothing. Came on in the second game, did practically nothing. And then third game comes on, does practically nothing. So I imagine he's going to be the ones out because he's had several chances to prove himself and has not done anything. But I can't imagine who the other one would be because even though I don't really like Morris and I think he's not really good enough, I mean, he scored 2 goals last game. So I can't imagine him being kicked out of the team. Dwyer scored in the first game and scored against Ghana as well. So I can't imagine him being kicked out of the team either, and he's looking to prove himself. So I don't know what the thinking is there either. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Obviously, I'm not in Bruce Arena's head because I don't think that highly of myself. And I know Bruce Arena thinks very highly of himself. but I assume I'll probably disagree with most of them. I probably will do another video before the next game talking about the changes, talking about the players coming in and going out. Just a quick, I guess, opinion of that and how much I disagree with it. But yeah, that's about it for this game. Like I said, good overall game, even if there were some problem players out there. Uh, I just think you take Zusi out of this team, you take Corona out of this team, you take McCarty out of this team. I think it's a solid team. And if you bring in Zardes I'd probably put Zardes in over Pontius, and then Acosta in for McCarty, and then Lehigh in for Zusi. I think those changes right there, all of a sudden it's a much better team, and I think that's probably our most solid team right now. Obviously, with some of the more experienced players coming in, I know there are going to be a lot of changes there, but I just think I look at that team and I wish I'd gotten to see some of them play together. I wish I'd gotten to see Lehigh play with players like Miazga and Bessler instead of Gonzalez and Hedges, because those two were awful. I wish I'd gotten to see Zardes on the field with Rowe and seeing how two creative players on either side of the field, how could they link up? I wish I'd gotten to see Acosta and Bedoya playing in the middle together. How effective would that have been? So, yeah, I don't know. Those are my opinions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this game? Who's your man of the match? What changes do you want to see to the team sheet going into the knockout stages? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future U.S. Gold Cup matches. I'll see you guys in the next game.